SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
I didn't know you did this kind of work.
I say this every time I interview you. My favorite Wolverine, the great Coach Dane Fife. Coach, how are you, my friend?
Thank you.
Thanks for having us down here. It's always fun to get to spend some time with you. I got so much I want to dig into your brain about. And I want to start with Foster because, quite frankly, he is the guy to me. He's the star of the group. That's not speaking ill of anyone. I think it's just being truthful. This is a guy that's driven. He's a guy, you told me once, and I just mentioned this to him. You said he's one of the only players I've ever had that before I get to him to yell about something, he's already trying to fix it because he notices it and he isn't trying to bury his inconsistencies. Matter of fact, I think you said he's the first since Dane that you've had that way. But you've molded him into a great basketball player.
Well, to be honest with you, Hondo, I can't take credit for that. His dad and him spend a lot of time together. And the fact that, he can go home and watch film with his dad and his dad, might come to practice early and shoot with him before he goes, before practice starts, and then he basically leaves. He's never been a hindrance or anything like that, and yet I would welcome him into our practice, and any suggestions that he would have, I would certainly listen to him because he's been a notch, 2 or 3 notches higher than I had ever gotten. So I always value his opinion. But, Foster's, I've told so many people this isn't rocket science why this kid is the way he is today. It's because of his work ethic and his commitment to be the best he can be. And he's, he's one of those kids like I tell kids, when you go in the gym because you want to be there all the time, when it's in your heart, then I know you are.
Tom Izzo says when your best player is your hardest worker, special things can happen.
No question about that.
Am I wrong in putting him in that group?
Listen, for him to be the best player in that group right now would be, a little bit suspect to say it right now, but I know.
Wait, best player in Clarkson?
Michigan State's
okay,
group.
okay. Oh, I agree with you there.
But the fact that, listen, it won't make any difference if he's the best player or not. That young man's going to work hard at all times. You will never have to worry about him. He'll be shooting in the gym first thing in the morning. He'll be shooting late at night. He's just that kind of kid. If he misses 2 or 3 shots or free throws in a game, he's going to come out. He missed. I don't know if you. No, you wasn't here at that game, but he had a game where he missed 2 free throws in a game.
I remember you telling me this on the phone.
Oh, it's crazy, and it was a true story. He's out there. And
tell the fan.
Well, he had missed, and after the game, so many people left. We're all out there, and he's down at the other basket shooting while the custodians are cleaning up, and people are still talking with their friends in the gym, and so on and so forth. And I'm staying there kind of because we have this little program after the next morning, and I want to put down the baskets before I leave. And so he's there, and pretty soon it just keeps on going on and on and on. And finally everybody leaves, and I go down there and start rebounding for Foster. I said, Foster, you better get out of here. It's getting late. You've been here 2 hours after the game's over. And he said, just a couple more, Coach. So he shoots and makes 3 or 4 more, and he goes, okay, Coach, that's 200 straight. I can leave. And I'm going, you're kidding. I said, I'd have still been here shooting in the morning.
I want to. You have been around basketball. You were a great basketball player. You're a legendary Hall of Fame coach. There's nothing in basketball that you haven't accomplished. I was asked recently how good Foster can be, and you and I are genuine friends. So if you disagree, I want you to please say that you disagree. And I told people, he's not anywhere near this yet. But with his work ethic, his character, and his talent, I believe he has a chance to be the 2nd greatest point guard in Michigan State history. I don't think he'll catch magic. I don't think anyone will because he's not 6'9". Yeah. But he has the tenacity and fierce competitiveness of Mateen Cleaves with the offensive ability of Drew Neitzel. Where am I wrong?
I think you're totally right with that. He has such a passion for the game. He has as we've talked before, his basketball IQ is off the charts. And he won't have to score 26 points or 27 points a game to be a factor out there on the floor. He's great away from the ball on defense. He sees the game ahead of time. Offensively, it'll be a transition for him to figure out the strength and length of those kids and create space for him to get shots. But that young man, if he has a hard time at this, he's going to start doing this. I mean, he's starting to work on his left hand now. Not for outside shooting, but getting to the rim. He's worked on it all year with his left hand. So when he goes in, if he's right-handed, he can get it to his left hand and still finish at the basket, which is pretty hard to do. But anything that he feels he has a weakness, he's going to stay in the gym continually. He won't stop, and he'll continue to work on it all year.
Awesome.
And it's not, I don't necessarily know what's going on at home, but I know what I see in my eyes every day. We had a game the other day, not too long ago, and he wasn't having a good shooting night. And you could tell he was struggling. And now the game's getting close. It's down to like 3 minutes or so. He comes down out of nowhere and fires a three-pointer that no way would I have shot that had I been shooting that bad. And hey, boom, went in. I said, I told the coaches back in, I said, guys, that's confidence. I said, you and I, Tim Wassell played for me. I said, you and I, there's no way you could shoot that shot at that point.
I tease Izzo. There are moments when guys like Cassius Winston will take a shot and he'll go, oh, hell, and then it goes in, yes. You had those moments with him, haven't you?
I do. And there's times when he misses those shots. But you know what? I've watched that kid in the gym. People will say something to me. I said, listen, you're not in practice every day to watch that kid practice shoot before or after. He's not practicing NBA threes just to screw around. He's practicing because it increases his range. I mean, that kid's, there's a rationale behind everything he does when he's in the gym. And it's, I've seen that. And honestly, watching him and watching his dad, it's helped our program. It's helped me as a coach to watch what he's doing with his son and start to implement it to the rest of our team, the way he goes about shooting drills, pre-practice or things like that. I'm never that dumb that I won't, I can't learn.
Right.
And through, a lot of times just through my sight, what I see, or sometimes what I read, and there's things sometimes I see on TV, and I'll go to John and say, John, what do you think about this? And, he cuts through the chase on everything. He's, matter of fact, straight answer.
Let's go to Thomas Kithier for a minute. I just told this to Thomas. He's grown up. He's a different kid. I know that it was tough sitting out and not playing in games, but he got to practice with a man who, in my opinion, you're one of the top 3 coaches at any level in the state of Michigan. I think you're right there with Beeline and Izzo. The fact that you chose to stay in high school was your decision. You're good enough to be a Beeline or an Izzo. And I think, but even off the court as a young person, I just mentioned to him, I said, most kids come to Michigan State still kids and leave men. But with what he went through, I saw an exponential maturity. Coach, am I missing it with Thomas?
Well, to be honest with you, the only way I knew Thomas was through playing against him. And I knew he had a lot of potential, but when he came here, I was stunned at his ball handling ability and his range from outside shooting, and then his strength around the rim. And his explosive jumping. He reminds me a lot of Dylan, only he's taller than Dylan Alderson that played for us because he's explosive with his jumping. And I see a kid that could play multiple positions. At Michigan State, he's not necessarily pigeonholed as a 2 or a 3 or anything. They'll determine that, but he'll also determine that the way he practices. And I know when we went up to state tournaments, I think he stayed the night with Tum Tum to shoot with Tum Tum the next day. And that's, Tum Tum being a great leader he is, I mean, that was pretty special for Thomas to work out with that kid. But, I know him as I've known him as he spent time with us. He's always been very respectful, and, he's a good-natured kid. He's got a sense of humor. And yet, again, I really, to see what that kid going through, sitting at the state tournaments and things like that. And, when we had senior night, we recognized him there. Our crowd, give him an ovation. I mean, as much as anyone on our team, it was very, very loud. They appreciate who he is and that he wanted to come to Clarkston and be a part of Clarkston.
He said something to me a minute ago that really touched me. He said he appreciates the game even more. And it got taken away from him, and he loves it even more. This could be let me just say something. I'm not asking you to say it. I'm saying it. I think it's a farce he didn't play. I'm saying that, not you. But at the end, it can be making lemonade out of lemons here, that if he finds an even more deeper love of the game, sky's the limit with him.
I agree. And that's, all three of my boys went through injuries that kept them out of playing at different times than that. And I always used to say to them, guys, you're gonna at the end of all of this, you're gonna understand, and it's gonna make you have a greater love for playing. You'll work harder, you'll understand it better, and it'll inspire you just to to continue to work even harder now. The fact that you can't do it anymore, now all of a sudden you can. It's really, we talk here a lot about turning negatives into positive, and that's what athletics teaches you. Because the game will humble you. If you get full of yourself, it'll take you down to your knees. So you better not, But stuff like this, I think that's, for Thomas to feel that way, I think it's what he should be feeling.
All right, now I want to turn, and a lot of people know this story because you and I have talked about it before. Michigan State was in here recruiting Cole Chewins as a tight end. And you told D'Antonio, you're wasting your time. He's a left tackle, and he has blossomed into the left tackle of the Michigan State football program. Well, now you're coaching another freshman. Garrett Dellinger was a great player on this basketball team, but Michigan State is hard after this freshman. They want him at Michigan State for football. How good is he?
You know what? He's that family is a tremendous family. Both the mother and dad played college basketball. Their kids all enroll in ROTC during their careers at the college they go to. His oldest brother, who played for me, was just a tremendous competitor, and he's in his final thing of becoming a Navy SEAL. And his dad, I don't know what he does for the government, but he does something for the government. But this kid here, in fact, I'm pretty sure this is what the kids are saying, that D'Antonio told him to make sure he continued to play basketball along with football. And I think for that, I think they want him as a tight end. I'm not sure, but that's what I think. And that kid's got tremendous hands. And the fact that he plays basketball, he sees the ball, he's got good hands catching the ball. And I call him grips after a while because that gets in those hands. That's like hand grips. I mean, those hands are strong. He's a strong kid, and every day after practice, where you going? Hey, do you have the keys to the weight room? I need to get in and lift. He left it every day after practice. And he's such a good kid. He didn't get a lot of playing time, but hey, he'd see me in the hallway before the game. Coach, I'm ready to play tonight if you need me. What a great attitude. He just he's one of those kids. You don't have to beg him to do anything. He's gonna be there, and he's gonna play, and he's gonna compete. And I think he really wants to play outside linebacker. But and I can't tell you the one thing that I don't know. I know his speed at his size. But he's just grown into everything he's got.
He's only a freshman.
Yes, he's just grown into that. So he could be someday, with his hands and the way he can run the floor just in basketball and catch the ball, I don't doubt that he can't be a very good tight end. But, that's up for Coach D'Antonio to figure out.
Well, you're the one that always tells D'Antonio where to play him. Where would you play him?
I know he likes to play defense. And I'm always talking to my basketball players. The way you guard is the true essence of who you are. You take pride in your defense, and it's, you against that guy who can last the longest, who's going to play through pain, who's going to go all through the things where you don't get a lot of recognition, but how you guard people, how you defend determines to me who you are. Because I know out there, every day, I'm not going to figure out who you are on defense. You have to show me every day, and that's what I think he'll do. So I don't know. I don't know what his best position is, but I don't know why he wants to play, except he likes to hit maybe. Which today's world, I don't know if that's a good thing.
I consider one of my highest honors in my life is being a friend of the Fife family.
Oh gosh,
I love your family, and you have amazing children. But no one knows your wife is just the backbone of the Fife family. She's an angel. But when you look at your career, your kids, successful, good people. Your wife, you couldn't have married better. You should have been a college coach because anyone that's ever met her, clearly she's out of your league, so you recruited her. double back-to-back state championships, one of the best coaches in America, a Hall of Fame career. But when you watched that game against Syracuse, was it harder as a dad to watch your son go through that, or is it harder as a coach? I know the answer, but I want the fans to hear it.
I would say as a dad and a coach, both. Jan, my wife would tell you, I'm nervous before every game like crazy. I'm in off the wall stuff. And I don't sleep a lot during the season, and I wake up at 2:30 in the morning, and I wake up saying, Syracuse. Syracuse. Dan, what are you talking about? I said, Syracuse. That defense stunned Michigan State. They really couldn't find an answer. They couldn't shoot well. We haven't talked about Syracuse to our kids. We've talked about 1-3-1, 1-2-2, box and one, everything we could think of, we talked about and reviewed when we come back here before leaving the next morning. So, and that's what I thought about. My God, if they bring their two guards out higher. I mean, I always think, what are they going to do to stop Foster? How are they going to get it out of his hands? Mm-hmm. I think about that stuff. So from a coaching standpoint, you see things maybe. I talked to Dane after a little bit about maybe could you try this, that, and the other. And that defense is, so many teams have struggled with it.
Okay, but you're not answering my question. Well, this is what I'm digging at. As a dad, for you, is it hard to, that is one thing you've always been great at. You've never been impressed with Dane Fife, but man, you're impressed with your family. Is that hard as a dad because Dane was hurt?
Yes, I talked to him immediately after the game about stuff. Could you have done this? Could you have done that? Heck yes, it's tough on me because that's his job.
Right.
And even I argued with Dugan. Dugan, hey, yeah, I'm a Michigan grad. I graduated, I played there, everything, we grew up, you guys grew up, you didn't have anything green in your house, you were totally Michigan, but now Dane's at Michigan State. How they do depends on Dane's job.
Right.
I sat behind the bench at Michigan wearing red. Now I'm going to sit up there with green. I'm going to, my heart's with Dane.
Right.
That's where I'm at, and I want him to be successful. Along that, I could say just as easy, nobody in the four, Krzyzewski, Bobby Knight, Dean Smith, Steve Fisher, nobody recruited Dane and spent more time recruiting Dane. By far the best job recruiting Dane coming out of high school of any school in America. And it just was his own early age, always wanting to play for Bobby Knight.
How about Izzo was the one that recruited him?
Yes, Izzo was huge. Did a great job. Him and Crean did a great job. And Coach Izzo, as I may have told you before, when Michigan State played at Indiana, my mom and dad was there after the game. They got beat. After the game, he saw my mom and dad and hugged them, shook my dad's hand and hugged my mom. He's just been great to our family. And then when the job opened up here, he wanted Dane on his staff. When a guy's that, as a dad, when somebody wants your son, when he's got that kind of character values, that's the kind you can be happy if your son loses with that guy because he's such a good person.
Awesome. Coach, I'm so proud to call you my friend. One of the best in America. I appreciate you taking the time.
You're throwing too much at me here.